In today's video, we'll be making a watercolor splash notebook. It's a very simple project and I really hope you enjoy it. If you missed the last video of the series, we made some recycled paper tags. You can go and watch that if you'd like. The supplies you need for this project are a cardboard that can handle watercolor paints, watercolors, a brush, a needle, and some embroidery floss or normal thread paper or recycled paper. We will start with the cover of the notebook, as it needs some time to dry. For that, you measure how big you'd like your notebook to be and get yourself paper that is double that size. For my notebook, I wanted it to be roughly A5. So I'm using a slightly bigger than A4 sheet of paper for the cover, just to give me some more room for the watercolor splashes and for me to cut off the edges neatly. Spread your cardboard and cover its whole surface with water. Once it's fully wet, pick out the colors you'd like your cover to be and start dabbing the paint onto the wet surface. It will start spreading and swirling, let it follow its own shapes. With this method, the less you do, the better the result will be. Add all of your colors, and if it's not mixing fully, lift up your paper and start gently rotating it in the desired direction you want the swirls to be. Once you're happy with it, set it aside to dry. Remember that usually watercolors dry lighter, so make sure you've added enough pigment before this step. As your cardboard is drying, prepare your paper sheets for sewing. Since I'm doing a sketchbook in my version, I took these watercolor paper sheets from an old sketchbook I'm not using, and I needed to trim the ends to make all the pages exactly the same size. If you're using printer paper or any kind of already cut paper, you can skip this step. I have to choose how many pages I want my notebook to have. I want it to be 20 pages, so I will place 10 sheets of A4 paper flat on the desk, on top of each other, and fold each one in half. You will end up with something like this. Once that's done, pierce small holes in an interval of 2 centimeters each through the middle of the stack of the pages. That will make threading it much easier later on. Make sure to do the same to the cardboard you prepared for the cover as well, once it's fully dried. Then carefully, with the needle and thread, loop around each hole. The following process is a little bit hard to explain, but I tried to show as much as I could on video. But basically, the first round of stitches look like they are going every other hole. You go one underneath in the internal pages and one outside through the cover. And that way you loop around the whole book until you reach the last hole of the outer page. And then you have to repeat the same process going back. That way you will begin in the same hole that you started originally. Then snip off the end and tie it. Hide the end inside one of the holes and your notebook is finally done. If the internal pages are not the same size after you've sewn them together, you can just use your scissors to cut off the pages that are sticking out and to make sure that all the internal pages are the same length when folded. How cool is it that you can give someone a small sketchbook or notebook that you have made with your bare hands? I hope you enjoyed this little project and are having fun with the series so far. This is all from me for today's craft idea, but I will be back next Monday with another fun project for you. I will see you then.